Good morning, everyone. Hi, it's Mark Bodie here again. So it's day 39 of compassionate response to COVID-19 with Mark Bodie, and so this week, just do a little recap of what we've been doing this week. So this is the fourth session on the theme of ritual and devotion. So on Tuesday we did. I went into an introduction to ritual and talked about different sorts of rituals that we did around Manchester Buddhist Centre in order to kind of put altruism more onto the agenda, and then on Wednesday it was about creating a sacred space, and I went into what a temple is, what religious, how we can cultivate religious toleration by respecting other people's symbols. I went into aesthetics a little bit, and then yesterday I went to the topic of bowing and talked about how that's quite central. Bowing and prostration is quite central in Zen Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism, and and that there's a way of doing doing a bow which you can break down into rational steps. Okay, so today I'm just going to look at religion, really, just in general. What religion is, what faith is in religion. Religion could be anything. Anything could be our religion. So, just looking at that whole area of what religion is and what religious commitment is, and kind of levels of religious commitment. I left there's a small book called The Meaning of Conversion in Buddhism by Sangharakshita. So I posted that on the Facebook page. It's free. It's free on his website. So that gives you a bit of background. So hope you're all doing all right. I kind of had a really great tidy up yesterday evening, and I did it in a timed way. There's this accountability program that helps me to do actions that are in line with what I want to happen, with abundance in my life. And one of them is something called possession consciousness. It's like being aware of what things you've got, and whether they're serving you or not, whether you need to chuck them out, and so I had a really great tidy up, and my head feels much clearer for that. I put a couple of shelves up in my tool cupboard, and put a chair by my bedroom window to look out, on the south facing view, so I'll get to look at the dawn and things like that. So just looking after ourselves is really important. The environment that we're in. It's all work in progress, isn't it? And I think what I've noticed is that I need to maybe do the hot and cold treatment a bit more. A bit hot bath and then freezing cold water in the bath, and wake, just to stimulate myself, keep awake, keep alive, take responsibility, for what's happening, and not just sink into, what can happen when we're not getting enough exercise or whatever, So yeah. Anyway, rabbit. So what I thought we'd do this morning, as the bodywork part of the class, is to do some walking meditation. So that's why I'm stood up at the moment. So if you want to stand up, and we'll just hi Katrina, we'll start doing some walking meditation. So you just need a little bit of a space. You can go in quite smallish circles, really. Yeah. And I did this in the gaps between. Well, one of the gaps between tidying up yesterday. I set myself a target of doing like 10 minutes walking meditation between the kitchen and the lounge and the bedroom and then back to the kitchen, and it does make a difference. Just stopping and just being mindful of the body. Okay. So start off by just being aware of yourself standing. So what is the experience like of standing? So tuning into how it feels to be wearing clothes. Maybe there's some moisture there on your skin that's evaporating and is cooling your body down in some parts. Can you notice areas of heat? And then just having an intention in your mind that you're going to, in a minute, just start walking, just taking one step. And then just shifting your weight onto your right foot and then just slowly just lifting your left foot and placing it. And notice how that feels how does it feel in your left foot to have changed its position. Maybe it feels lighter, now your weight is on the right foot. And then just gradually shifting the weight over to your left foot and lifting off the heel of your right foot. And notice how it feels to be turning your body. How does it feel in your torso to just have a twist in your body as you turn to the right. And then allowing your weight to shift over to your right foot. And then taking another step with your left. Shifting your weight over to your left foot. And taking another step with your right. And just being aware of the general shape of your body as it changes. And shifting sensations in your feet as you keep taking steps. Noticing how you're feeling at the moment. And what's the general state of your mind? just allowing your spine to be as vertical as possible, so that you're taking your spine along with you and it's staying in the same upright position, so that you're not leaning over one side or the other. So just as when you're sitting in meditation posture, we try and balance the skeleton so it takes the weight down into the ground. Do the same in walking meditation. So one of the epithets of the Buddha was, he was called the trackless one. So it's like he didn't leave a trace behind. You know, he just took the whole of himself into life. Particularly didn't leave, well, I suppose he left a positive trace behind in terms of his influence, but having a sense of like just taking the whole of yourself into the meditation and not leaving a trace behind. Or if you do, you're leaving a positive trace. So I'm aware, I just thought that some of you might have physical issues, you know, physical health. So you always need to bear those in mind. So it might be that you just need to, if walking is problematic for you, then do something equivalent, which is where you're comfortable. Maybe do some kind of movement where you're just being aware of your movement, aware of what you're doing. Some gentle stretching or something like that. The idea is to keep the mind and the body in the same place. So the mind isn't ahead of the body and the body isn't ahead of the mind. just coming to a standstill. And just being aware of yourself standing. And then taking up your seat for meditation. Okay, so we're going to do the mindfulness of breathing practice in the normal 4 stages. So if you're new, I'll just say what those are. So in the first stage, we're mindful of our breath. We watch our breath come and go, the sensations and the movement of the breath, and to help us kind of stay aware of what we're doing, we put a count in at the end of the out breath. So we breathe in, and then we breathe out. We just watch our breath come in, watch it go out, and we just do a little count at the end of the breath in our head, 1, and then we breathe in, out, count 2, breathe in, breathe out, count 3, until we keep counting till we get to 10, and then the next breath we just watch the breath come in, watch it go out, and count 1, watch it come in, watch it go out, count 2. So we just count sets of 10 breaths, and whenever we can't remember what number we're on, we've lost concentration, then we just start from 1 again, breathe, watch the breath come in, watch it go out, count 1, and so on. And then in the second stage, it's the same counting sequence, but we just count just before the breath begins. So we notice the breath is about to begin, and we just count 1, and so on like that. And then in the third stage, we let go of the counting. We just watch the breath as continuously as possible, coming and going. And then the fourth stage, each stage helps us to refine our attention a bit more. So in the fourth stage, we notice the sensations that are there around our nose or mouth as the little tickling sensations as the air passes the lips or the nose, and that's what we rest our attention on. So so we're just watching the breath, the delicate sensations in the fourth stage. So if you just set up yourself in a comfortable position where you're just letting your body support you rather than hold it up, so that your mind and emotions don't need to be involved with your body. In fact, it's the body that's supporting them, and they're then free to engage with the meditation practice itself. So, the mindfulness of breathing. So this practice will be about 20 minutes. second stage, just count before the breath begins. third stage, we drop the counting, just follow the breath as it comes and goes, as continuously as possible. And the fourth stage, just observing the delicate sensations of the breath as the breath passes the nose and mouth. Resting the attention there. Okay, so in your own time, bringing your meditation to a close. So it seems like some of you having sound problems. I hope it works out alright in the recording, so yeah. Alright, so I've put my kesa on, which is my Buddhist equivalent to a robe. Seeing we're doing ritual and devotion this week. I think I went to bed a bit late and got up a bit earlier, really, so my head's a little bit. It's a bit like I'm struggling to focus my mind a bit. Anyway, it's always good to admit things because it gets it out of the way for yourself, and then you just get on with trying to do your best under the circumstances. So, yeah, on previous days, what we've done is just try to kind of build up a picture of what ritual and mainly ritual actually. And in a way, what we're coming onto now is devotion. So the word devotion is linked to the word vow, and it's like coming into relationship with something that the connotation of vow is like some sort of pledge or commitment, isn't it? Something like that. So we're just going to explore this whole area. What it is to commit yourself to something, and So yesterday, 2 days ago, I went into what a sacred space is, what temple is, that sort of thing. There's sound problems. I don't know what to do about it. I've just on my normal iPad. So what a temple is and what so a sacred space is a kind of a dedicated space for a particular set of views that are there in that particular religion, and so people create a sacred space to delineate that that view. Buddhists will have a Buddhist temple, and Hindus will have a Hindu temple, and Christians will have a church. And so the point is that you come into that space, and then it's that particular set of views which is being, brought into focus in that place. And then yesterday we went into the idea of bowing. So a bow is basically what we're doing is we're kind of acknowledging something in another person or in a figure or a symbol or something, even might be a Buddha figure, and we're sort of saying in some way I'd like to be open to what qualities that you have to offer, or so we imagine that somebody has this potential, or there's a real sense of respect. So respect being looking again at something. To respect, it's spectator is to look. So it's like to look again, to acknowledge that there might be something in the thing that we're respecting. And that the whole point of a bow is that we're opening ourselves up to an influence, so it's like we're sort of saying that there's something valuable in this. We need to make our decisions. We need to make our decision about what we are committed to, or what we want to, what direction we want our lives to go in. And then what happens is we set about doing that, we set about practicing the thing that we're thinking is of value. So I quite like just having bits of interesting relevant stuff in these talks. So I just thought I'd play you something on my iPhone, which I hope you can hear. And this is in a way, this is an example of like kind of Manchester religion from the 1990s. So this is Stone Roses playing at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City's ground. Sing along if you want. Okay. So here's an example of a religion. What the words there of Stone Roses. I want to be adored. I want to be adored. So basically. Yeah, so it's like we need to practice something. We need, in a way, we do practice something. We all practice our religions. So for people in Manchester in 1990s, the religion would be sort of you go out clubbing on a Friday night, Saturday night to the Hacienda, and you go watch the Stone Roses, and you take some drugs and stuff, and that's your, that's what you believe in is going to be, you making the best out of your life, So we all do something like that. We all make a decision about what we're kind of, how we're going to run our life, what it's going to be like, and so people often will. Put their, so the term in Buddhism, which is about commitment, is something called going for refuge. So it's like we all kind of go for refuge to things, go for protection to things, invest in things, it's as my physics teacher taught, Jock Marsden said, you pays your money and you takes your choice. So we all. Say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. So it's like, so it might be that we say, right, I'm going to be invest in a professional career. I'm going to be, become an architect or whatever it is. And then we put all our energy into that, because this is the thing that we think we're going to. This is the thing we think that is going to actually make our lives what we want, So we want lots of material things. then probably that's a good idea, you know. And we also go for refuge to things like opinions, you know, our opinions about how things are going to work. You see this all the time, you know, like people coming in with opinions about, oh, if only so-and-so politician would be this, whatever, then this would be better. Even the COVID-19 crisis, which is like you know, it's like a virus. You know, it comes in again. You know, opinions about what people should be doing or not doing, or what, you know. And we also go for refuge to our group. You know, our particular society or social group or whatever it is. You know, and we invest in that. So what? So in a way, like all religions are, you know, whether they're, you know, the religion of Manchester, you know, or, you know, the religion of football, or, you know, the religion of materialism. You know, they're all sort of saying that, you know, there's this pattern in the universe that, you know, where, you know, I'm going to align myself with that because I think this is going to bring about the best for me, you know. This is going to bring about the good for me, you know. And, but in religions, you know, theistic and non-theistic religions, that pattern is often something that's ethical. So it's like you could say that in a way, the word God and the word good it's the same sort of word, really. It's like that if you think that there's a consequence to being good, you know, we all kind of sense what that is, you know, kind and aware and considerate and that sort of thing. If there's a consequence to that, then there's some future outcome like heaven or hell or whatever. So you could see it in that kind of way that in a way religions are just symbolic of some karmic pattern in the universe that is important to you know, to align ourselves with. So in Buddhism, it's the idea that our actions have consequences in the future for ourselves and others. So that's why people go for refuge to the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha, which are the three jewels in Buddhism. You know, because they believe that by practicing Buddhism, by, you know, aligning yourself, trying to become enlightened, by aligning yourself with what the Dharma is saying, the teaching of the Buddha is saying, and by being a part of the spiritual community of Buddhists, then this is going to give you the best conditions to bring about happiness for yourself and others. And yeah, so it all stands the test of time, you know. So, you know, if one person, you know, if their religion is materialism, if it's going out on a Saturday night, partying and all that sort of thing, watching the football, you know, if another one is Christianity, it's like in the end, it'll work or not work for you, you know. And so in you know, Buddhism deals with the whole person and doesn't leave anything out. So faith, or what's called Shraddha in Sanskrit, or you can translate it as confidence and trust, that sort of thing. You know, so we have confidence in the three jewels, in the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. And we have confidence because, not out of a blind faith in Buddhism, because there's no blind faith in Buddhism, because there's three grounds for faith in Buddhism. It needs to make sense. It makes sense, you know. So all the teachings that I give in these classes have to make sense, you know. Nobody's asking anybody to commit to something that they don't doesn't make sense to them. It needs to kind of we need to respond emotionally to it. So it's our intuition. It needs to feel right. It needs to feel right. So often aesthetics comes into this, and often experience of people. So the people that we're around, it feels right how they are. There's something right about them, and then it needs to work in experience. So ultimately, it might make sense and feel right, but does it actually deliver the goods? Does it actually transform our lives so that they become better lives? And not just for ourselves, not just our experiences becomes better, but other people's experience becomes better because we're in their world. When people commit themselves to Buddhism in the sense of thinking, oh, I'd like to really do this full time and make this the centre of my life, they might ask for ordination. And it's probably the case in all religions that, at a certain point you think, oh, I want to really put this is the centre of my life, and I want to really devote myself to it. So, in the what the Buddha would say to somebody who'd given a teaching and they'd expressed the desire to follow him, he would say, "Ehipassiko," which means "come and see." So it's like it's an invitation to try it out. Just come and see. And there's the well-known phrase when you're trying to teach somebody something: show, don't tell. It's like you can tell somebody the theory about something, but what really is more convincing is that you show it to them. They see it in working in life. So what one of the ways there are 4 ways in which a community of Buddhists is created. There's a teaching called the Sangrabastus. And one of them is exemplification. So it's like the thing that is most convincing to us is we see somebody exemplifying something. They're not talking about it and not doing it. They're doing it and maybe even not talking about it. They just come across as attractive. So it's like attraction. Buddhism moves forward through attraction, not promotion. Nobody goes trying to proselytize it anywhere, or they shouldn't be doing. So that the clip I showed of the stone roses at the Etihad Stadium illustrates something really important, which is that those people were really involved in that. Their emotions were just like really involved. They're all together singing, and there's a collective sense of, collective experience. And so this is saying that our emotions need to really become, come on board with our beliefs. And there's all the colour there, of the flares and coloured flares and all that sort of thing, and it's all part of that. It's all part of engaging the emotions with the thing that we're thinking. This is what I want my life to to be constellated around. So we place our heart upon whatever that thing is, so that we're encouraging our emotions to go in that direction, and so our heart will be in one thing or another. It might be in our romantic relationships, it might be in our job, it might be in it can be in anything. So whatever our heart's in is telling us what we have, what's our religion, what we have faith in most. And that commitment or that faith can be at different, it can exist at different levels. So Sangharakshita, who founded the Triratna Buddhist community and order that I'm a part of, he's one of his the teachings that evolved over decades really, was that going for refuge is the central Buddhist act, central act of being a Buddhist. But what he did was he identified different levels of that, so it's a bit like, somebody who comes along to a Buddhist centre and is a bit interested, but, doesn't really want to think of themselves as a Buddhist, but they've got a curiosity there. So that's a certain level of going for refuge, of putting Buddhism in your life in some way. And then you've got the Buddha, for whom, he's complete. The commitment is complete. And even the Buddha is committed to something. The Buddha even said that he needed to look up to something, and what he looked up to was the teaching of the Dharma. The truth about the way things were is what the Buddha looked up to. So everybody needs to look up to something. So in Buddhism you have five. I'll finish with this. So we have 5 levels of going for refuge. So the lowest level is what Sangharakshita call ethnic going for refuge. So this is what happens when, say, you're born into what's nominally a Buddhist country. So say you're born in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is a Buddhist country. So that's it. That might be the sum total of your Buddhism. It's a bit like maybe being a Christian in England for some people. It's what you it's the identification comes because of the place of birth. But you might have you might have a little bit of approval of it, just that it brings a certain order to things or identity to things, but personally there's not necessarily any kind of belief in that or commitment in that. So the next level up from there is where there is some sort of personal choice going on. It's called provisional going for refuge. So this is a person who comes along to the Buddhist centre, is interested in meditation, they're willing to listen to what's being taught or explored. And what happens often is people come and go, people get involved, they get enthusiastic, they come to classes and they get really into the meditation practice. And then maybe after a few months, something appears in the life that maybe their life becomes a bit better than it was. Maybe they had some problems, some suffering there in their lives. They meditate, life becomes a bit better, and think, oh, I feel better now. And then something happens in their life that's interesting, and they go off in that direction. Maybe they get into a relationship or something, and so they stop going to the Buddhist centre, and this is all completely natural. What happens generally, people come and go. And at the Manchester Buddhist Centre, that we understand that, and it's completely fine to come and go, But then, eventually, you might want to become more involved and really sort of think, oh no, I want to really develop friendships within this group of people. I really like these people, and I want more of it. And so people would then do what in our movement would ask to become a mitra. So mitra means friend, and so as a mitra you have a ceremony which is just offering some candle and incense and flowers to the shrine. And then people then know that you're a mitra. It's like a ritual, and then more things are put on for you. You know, study groups are put on for you, so it's helpful to identify a commitment, a certain level of commitment. You're saying you're a Buddhist at that level, so that allows people to go, order members to respond to you and kind of address that commitment, and then you might then ask for ordination. Again, this is a thing that everyone's free to do or not do. And then when you ask for ordination, there's more things are put on for you, training retreats and things. And eventually, so it's like, to get to the level of being an order member, it's like you kind of have to know, you have to effectively have Buddhism at the centre of your life. So you have to know what it is, you have to understand yourself enough so to know that you are really committed to that, and you're not becoming ordained because you want the status of it or something. So it's like an individual, you're clear, and other people understand, who are experienced in the order, understand that they see that your going for refuge is like theirs. It's genuine and sincere and effective, those sorts of things. So then you get ordained and you get given a caser like this, and at that point you're effectively going for refuge. So, but that doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to gain enlightenment or anything. That's the next level up, which is real going for refuge. So order members are working from being effective to being real, and that's where you can't really fall back. Your commitment and clarity and practice is strong enough that you'll be carried forward to enlightenment in 7 lifetimes. And then at the level of ordination, you have another set of conditions that come into being. There's more activities that are kind of available for you, and regular meetings with other order members, and it's all to support your level of commitment. And then when you get to the level of real going for refuge or stream entry, at that level it's said that you don't need other people to be supportive of you. It's like you're self-sustaining. You're independent in the master's dispensation, is the phrase. So in the master being the Buddha. So it's like you're able to create a community around yourself because of your commitment is so strong. And then finally, the final level of going for refuge is absolute going for refuge, which is the level of the Buddha or any other enlightened being. So what comes out of going for refuge naturally? So this, you have a certain level of commitment, and then what comes out of that is that you then want to practice something. You want to, or you need to practice something in order to transform your life and make yourself. So the going for refuge is to a particular view about things, that this is the way things are. So you then practice precepts, which are training principles to embody that in your life. So as a mitra, you would take on 5 precepts: a commitment to practice loving kindness and generosity and contentment, and lack of kind of sexual misconduct, truthfulness and mindfulness are the 5 precepts you take on as being a mitra. So this is all to bring Buddhism alive in your life. And then at ordination you could take on 10 precepts. So you have loving kindness, generosity, contentment. But then you have 4 speech precepts: truthful speech, helpful speech, kind speech, harmonious speech, and then 3 mind precepts: non-covetousness, non-hatred or compassion, and right view, or non-ignorance. So it's like, you've got the refuges and the precepts, and this is your actual practice of of Buddhism in this case, or you would have something similar in another religion. You'd have the 10 Commandments or whatever it is. So the important thing is that you then start practicing the thing that you believe in. So if you're an architect, and you start practicing that, and being professional, and getting doing everything that you need to do with that. If you're a politician, that's what you practice, and then you pays your money and you takes your choice, and you like your life will kind of rise or fall depending on whether that works or not, whether that does actually bring about what you're looking for. Okay. So that's it for today, and I just hope that the sound works out all right when it's on, in the video, and that we don't lose it. So wish you well today, and so there'll be a puja at normal time, 12:30, and I'll put that onto the website. I'll make sure I do that. Okay, all right. Good luck, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye.